What's up guys, my name is Kevin, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you my settings for PLA and for TPU and Cura. I've had quite a few requests for this, so I figured this would be the next video I'd do. So let's jump over to Cura and I'll show you my settings. So starting off, you can either pause to, I'll go through most of the settings with you, and you can either pause the video and just copy them straight over, or follow along with me. So your layer height. Also too, I'm by no means a master 3D printer or a professional at this. I'm still learning. This profile I got from Chep, which is a really popular YouTuber on, or excuse me, a 3D printer guy on YouTube. His name's Chep3D, I believe, or something like that. I took one of his profiles and just modified it to work for me. So at the core, this is his profile, and then I've just tweaked it a little bit to work for the Ender 3v2 or a little bit better for me. So starting off, sorry if I used the wrong terminology. I'm going to try to explain the options or the settings in the most layman's terms. So if I say the wrong term for it or whatever, just know that ahead of time. So your layer height is basically your line thickness, or your how fine your lines are. So again, if we set this super high, you're going to have really big, really thick lines. And then the lower you go with it, the finer your lines are going to be, but it's also going to take longer to print. So higher quality is lower number on this. Crappier quality is a higher number, but prints faster. So I've found 0.12 to be the best mix of speed, plus the quality still looks pretty good. I print most of my stuff on this. You can go down to 0.08. That looks really good as well too. If you want something really small, or you're printing something really small and you'd like it to look really good, like miniatures, you can go down to 0.10 or 0.08. But yeah, that's what I'm set at right now. So this is for PLA as well too. We'll go over TPU next. But so layer height 0.12. Initial layer height 0.2, get a little better on the foundation. Most of these other settings are stock here, but you can go ahead and copy them. Wall thickness I have is 0.8, and then wall line count is 0.2. Let's see what else has been changed in here. These are pretty basic for the most part. You can change your patterns depending on what you like on your top and bottom. I think lines looks the best. In TPU, I know, for example, some companies recommend cubic is the strongest for TPU, but this is PLA. Some of the patterns do make a difference, but I'm not printing anything where I'm worried about super strong strength or anything like that. I like the whatever looks the best, so I feel lines does. Optimize wall printing as well too. If you don't have any of these settings, I should have said that first. If you don't have any of these settings that you see here, under each area, whatever you want to call it, if you click on the gear setting, you will have this pop up, and you can scroll through all of the options, and then you can turn them on, or you can search, I believe too. So if I type line width, it'll bring up the line width setting there, and you can add it. Actually, I don't know if that's how you can add it, but you can search a setting there. And if you want to add one, you click on the gear wheel, find it on here. Like, see it, you can scroll all the way through, but if I was looking for something under quality, I would search under the quality wheel. If I wanted something in a shell, I would click on the shell wheel. But you can scroll all the way through and find them all. Anyways, back to the settings. So wall thickness 0.8, 0.2 on the wall line count. Where are we at? Optimize wall printing order. So sorry for the background noise if you hear that. Optimize wall printing order. I believe this is correct. It reduces the number of retractions. So if it's got more stuff to print on one side then versus hopping over to the other side, it'll optimize that, whatever the printer thinks the best path to take. Print thin walls. Sometimes you want to use this, but not always. It prints pieces of the model which are horizontally thinner than the nozzle. So this depends on some of your models. I haven't. I believe this was on to begin with, and then I turned it off. I haven't used it in a while, so don't quote me on that setting. This is Z seam alignment. This is the sharpest corner. So if you ever printed like a circle or something round, and you notice you see the seam where it always starts to print, or where it always starts that line at, this will hide it in the sharpest corner. So if there is an option for the for it to start in a 90-degree corner or something like that, it'll start there. Moving on to infill, your density is infill is basically what it sounds like. So you vary this per print. So if 100% like think of it as a ball, a circle or whatever, a ball, 100%, that means the ball is completely solid, you know, down to I have 20% of the ball filled. So that means all of the extra space within the printer or within the print gets filled in. This falls under structural integrity, I would say. So like small things that don't matter, you just want them so they're not flimsy. 20% is fine. For most of the things you've seen in my videos, the PLA settings, I've done them at 20%. For TPU, I print at a higher infill because it's a squishy material. It's hydroscopic or whatever. It's flexible, so I want it to be more, yeah, I want it to be thicker, however you would say it. The infill pattern, I have it grid, nothing else really crazy here. Temperature, so for most PLAs, you're going to want to do a temperature tower for every single type of filament. What I did is I'd run a temperature tower with a new filament, and then on a notepad I've wrote down, you know, what brand of filament and then what the temperature likes. But like I've found that I can print all of them fairly good at 200, all PLAs that I've had or that I have so far without any issue at all. So 200 temperature is fine, but a temperature tower will help you more or help you easily identify. I have one right here, actually laying right here. So let's see if I can put this up to the camera. This is a temperature tower. I'll link this in the description as well too if you want to check it out. This is a temperature tower for PLA. You literally just drag this. It's a G-code file, so you don't have to do any of the crazy settings to make it change temperature, and it shows the temperature. You know, at the top, I believe this one says, what does this say? 190 to 220. So it prints all the way down, and then you check and look at, you know, each cube and see which one you think looks the best, and then that's your setting for that. So like I said, 200 works the best, 60 on the build plate temperature. Your flow should be at 100. TPU and PLA have different E-step values, so your extrusion value. So you should calibrate your E-steps before really getting too far into your settings. But if you're having under extrusion or over extrusion, you can raise or lower the flow. Like for example, instead of, I haven't got an E-step value set for my TPU yet, so when I print TPU, I raise my flow. My flow is set to 210, or excuse me, 110. I bump this up to 110. Yeah, if you have your extruder set correctly, it should be at 100. So if it was over extruding, you could lower it down to 98. You know, keep going down from there. I normally change it in increments of 5. So, you know, I bumped it up 105, then reprinted, bumped it up to 110, and then I liked on TPU, I liked it at 110. Or the correct way to do it would be to calibrate your E-steps with TPU. But that's just a way I've found around it. So I set my E-steps for PLA, which is the majority of prints, and then for TPU, I just crank up my flow to 110, and that seems to work pretty good for me. Initial layer flow, I've got it turned down just a little bit. So your print speeds, you can get these up higher. So again, your layer height, at the very top, your layer height, and then your print speed come into play for quality. So you can crank these up to 70 or 60 or 70. I've seen a couple people with profiles of this up to 70 millimeters per second, and I find that the prints mess up or look like crap when you get going that fast. So if you're okay with a little slower print, you're going to get better quality. So again, it all depends on what you're doing and what works best for you. One person's profile, my profile, isn't going to translate over to yours perfectly for what you're printing. Well, I mean, if you're printing the exact same thing and you have the exact same printer, then yes, that might possibly be the case. But depending on what you're printing and your printer settings, if you've calibrated your E-steps correctly, it could vary a little bit. So I have found this is a perfect speed, 50 and 25, where it doesn't take forever to print, but it still does prints good quality. So you can lower your speed if it's, you know, going too fast or getting crazy, or you can bump it up if you think. You want to try to keep them, I don't know if this matters, but somebody, I remember reading somewhere that you want to keep them within, I forget what the proper word is, like this is multiples. You want to keep them in multiples of each other. So the wall speed's 25, my print speed's 50. I wouldn't want this to be, you know, if I bump this up to 30, my wall speed, it would change my other speeds to 60. I don't know if that's true. I just remember reading that somewhere. Yeah, anyways, that's the speed settings. Retraction is another thing. This is that's gonna affect stringing and some quality, I guess you could it could affect too if you didn't have your retraction set right. But enable retraction. Some people have said with TPU they have good results turning this off. I don't. I leave it on with TPU, but I just use different settings. So retraction distance 6, retraction speed 25. Combing mode. This is important. Not in the skin. You don't want it to comb in the skin. I forget honestly what that means. I believe it doesn't retract over part of the print or the important parts. I don't know. You can mouse over that and read it. I remember this is important though. Don't want to comb in the skin. Or no combing mode, not in the skin. You want to have Z-hop when retracted turned off, and that's basically it for important settings. Supports. Yeah, it depends on the model. So let's see if I have. I'll show you when to use some supports or how to mess with them. Where's a GoPro mount? So you're gonna have to. What is this? A GoPro? Oh, that's a bad model for that. You're gonna have to learn basically what your supports or what your printer's comfortable doing support wise. For the most part, let me turn mine on. I believe I've got this one set for PLA. I have it set to 59. Yep, 59, and then. For TPU, I have it set to 45 or 46, I believe. But where's a GoPro mount? Sorry, one second. Here we go. So here's a GoPro mount for an FPV quad. I would not be printing this in PLA, but I'm just showing you here. So for your supports, if you generate supports and then you click slice here, oops, close that. Click slice. You can see where it's going to make supports at. Again, I don't know how familiar you are with Cura. I'm sure some people, you click on preview now and it'll show you everywhere. So it's going to make supports all in there, which increases print time. You might not need that at all. It's not doing these windows, but it's creating support throughout the entire thing there. So you can use support blockers right here. Let's go back to prepare up here. Click on the top thing to switch over. Click on prepare. These support blockers here, you can click on those and then add them. What's going on? Support blocker there. You can add these support blockers wherever you want. I believe, what's the name of the other program? There's another slicer program that you have to pay for that has better supports. And you can learn how to use these supports better. I'm just showing you the basics. So you can click where you want them. Say we wanted to block the support of this area. We didn't think down here. Support blocker there. So now I can click on the support blocker and resize it or wherever and move it. So if you don't think you need supports in that area, you can do that. That's just an easy way to block support on something. Because I have it set to supports everywhere needed, you set your overhang distance. 59 should be totally fine for you. Set your overhang angle to support overhang angle to 59, and then do a preview. And then if you think your printer doesn't need supports in specific places, you can add the support blockers. Anyways, I believe that is it for PLA. Like I said, if you don't want to listen to me talk, you can literally just copy this profile, pause the video, and copy it over to yours. But that's PLA. We're going to move on to the Sainsmart TPU. So again, some TPUs are different. The Sainsmart one and the Priline one are a little different, but yeah, I've had great results with both of those, Priline and Sainsmart. The Priline's a little bit harder. I guess the settings are almost identical that I'm using. I'm changing the temperature a little bit. I'm printing hotter on the Sainsmart than I am on the Priline. But anyways, these are my Sainsmart TPU settings. So if you're done with PLA, thanks for watching. Have a good day. But here's the Sainsmart. They're basically the exact same. I have a higher layer height, or a larger layer height, bigger layer height, however you want to say that, from PLA to TPU. I've gone from 0.12 to 0.16. TPU, you have to print really slow, so I could even have this at 2. I have for quite a while. This is just recently what I was printing at. Mess around anywhere from 2 down to 0.08 and see what you like best. Yeah, it's gonna vary from there, so whatever you think you like best. Again, most of these are the same. I'm not going to go over all of them in detail. I will just show you the different ones, and then you can pause the video and copy any of them that you want to. The shell is the same, so layer height, that's different here. The shell should be the same. Infill density, see, I have this set to 90. So things like for TPU, I like a higher infill for TPU. I don't have anything sitting here to show you the infill density with. Yeah, I think the TPU prints just look better with a higher infill. They feel better. Again, you can change it for however you, whatever you think. You know, print. What you should do for printing is, this is what I've done at least, don't change a bunch of settings all at once. So don't say, oh, somebody said this setting, or change this and change that. If you change 5 things and then print and it looks better or worse, you don't know what really was affecting it. So I bring up a notepad, and I'll find a small print. Like these things are a perfect example of this. See if I can get it to focus there. These they're XT60 covers for batteries. These take like 30 minutes to print, and they're perfect for testing out different settings in Cura. So I'll print, I'll change the setting, and then write it down, and then print, and then change something else. So you don't want to change multiple settings. Yeah, you don't want to change multiple settings and then when you're trying to fix an issue or figure out an issue, because you're not going to know what fixed it. So change one thing at a time, and then print something small, go from there, you know, check it, change it. Yeah, go from there. So infill density, I like it higher on TPU. Your printing temperature, I found the Sainsmart to print the best at 210. The Priline, I'm printing at 205. So some people say a lot higher temperatures with TPU. I get way better results with a lower temperature, or with 210 on TPU. I get more stringing when I get higher in temperature, and yeah, 210 seems to be perfect. So you can see my flow. I was getting up there. I think, what did I print at 214? I think I was just cranking it up to see where it would start looking like crap. I normally print this, or normally keep my my flow for TPU at 110. Again, you should get a proper E-steps calibration. I'm like cheating doing this, or cheating, I don't know if that's the right word, but the way this should be set to 100, I guess, and you should calibrate your E-steps for TPU. But when I go to calibrate my E-steps with TPU, I kept getting inconsistent results, because the TPU, I don't know if it's because it's stretchy or what it was, but like when I'd measure and then run it and then measure again, I was getting inconsistent numbers. So I've just found cranking up my flow to 110 works quite a bit, or works a lot better than messing with the E-steps. Print speed. So again, TPU, the only thing that's really changed is the temperature and the print speeds. As you can see here, we are drastically slower. So you might be able to bump these up a little bit if you're willing to sacrifice quality, or yeah, you just think your printer can handle it, or maybe it can, I don't know. But this is what I'm printing at for TPU. Initial layer speed, I'm printing at 5. So your initial layer is extremely important. That's the base, your foundation. This is painstakingly slow, but to start off. But yeah, I found it works best to get a perfectly good initial layer before I start bumping it up. I have my travel speed bumped up a little higher to help with stringing. That way the print head's moving faster. So because TPU is, you know, flexible, and it strings a little bit more than PLA, I want it to move faster to the next location. So it's yeah, it's faster. So yeah, that's what we have for speeds. And then retraction distance is 5.5, and then retraction speed is 25. Again, this is a little different than the than the PLA. But yeah, that's so what we've got is retraction that's different, speed, my flow, temperature. I use a different infill. It's totally up to you though. You can keep 20 or whatever you want. And then layer height, I have at 16, which it still looks good. Just with PLA, I print faster, so I've lowered it just to kind of compensate there, because I'm not affecting. It's not taking that long to print. Supports are the exact same. You put them where you want. I generate supports everywhere. As you can see, the overhang angle is different. So on PLA will bridge better and or easier. TPU won't bridge as easier. So on PLA, my overhead angle is 59, and then for TPU, I have it set to 46 because I know it can do. The reason I have it set to 46 is because I know it can do a 45 degree support or angle, excuse me, and I don't need it. If you set it to 45, it does up to 44. So I set it to 46, so it'll do 45. But anyways, that's it for the most part. I hope I didn't leave anything out or say anything wrong. These are my settings. This is what I've been printing with for quite a while now. If you have any questions at all, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help out. Again, this is for the Ender 3 V2, and the filaments that I'm using I just did a video on those, so you can see. I'll link them in the description as well too, so you can get the same filaments. I'll also put that temperature tower link to the Thingiverse file for that, so you can download that and print a temperature tower for each one of your filaments, and then figure out what works best. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to help you out with them. Also, too, I'm working on it still right now, a full video on how to upgrade your firmware from the standard Ender 3 V2 firmware that comes on the Creality machine to, I'm going to show you how to use the TH3D, the Unified 2 firmware. It's really awesome. Yeah, I've been using it for a while now. It is extremely intimidating. You have to use, different programs. There's like basically coding software, it looks like. If you're not, super computer savvy, it's extremely intimidating. But yeah, I'll go over it all and walk you through it step by step. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Peace.